Hey everyone, it's CL, and in today's video I'm going to share the story behind some of the books that I own, and these are books you typically do not see on booktube, and more than likely you will not see on booktube ever again other than my video. I wanted to try something out of the norm, so let's go ahead and try this and see how it turns out. So when I first got married, I was working at a $12 an hour job, and my husband was still in college, so we didn't have a lot of money. We weren't able to afford cable or internet at that time, and the only form of entertainment was the daily newspaper that the people that lived at our apartment before us, they forgot to cancel their subscription. So every day I would read the newspaper from end to end. But on Sundays in particular, I would look forward to the Sunday paper because of the comic strips in the back of the newspaper. And I would read all of the comic strips, but one comic strip in particular I just absolutely loved, which was Get Fuzzy Comics. Yeah. So since I didn't have a lot of money, what money I did have or managed to save or scrounge up, I would go to the bookstore and I would really look forward to purchasing these books here, which is Get Fuzzy by Darby Conley, and these are like the bind up of the comic strips that would appear in the newspaper. And I have many of the books. These aren't even all the books that I own. I own some others that are in the other room. But if you're not familiar with this comic strip series, it is about the owner named Rob, and he owns a dog named Satchel and a cat named Bucky. And the best way I can describe it is that if animals could talk, the personalities that Satchel and Bucky, the cat and dog, have in this comic strip is how I would imagine animals in real life, like what their personalities would be like, because the dog Satchel is very loving and caring. So yeah, I really looked forward to reading the Get Fuzzy comic strips, especially in book form, because you can read the comics one after another in chronological order, and it's just one of the funniest comic strips I've ever come across, and I immediately fell in love with it when I first started reading it. So yeah. So the next book is The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy and Other Stories, and this is by Tim Burton. And now I have to be honest and tell you that this was an impulse buy. I seen it was by Tim Burton, and I know that I like his movies, so I thought, hey, I'll probably like this book. So when I brought it home, after I got done reading it, it took me like 5 minutes to read, but I have to be really honest and tell you that I regret buying this book because it cost $20, and I don't think I got my money's worth. That yes, we have like illustrations by Tim Burton and Tim Burton style, which people tend to love, and I thought they were interesting to look at, but when I was reading this book, like some of the pages just have like one line, and a lot of like the stories are really depressing. If you read the reviews for this book, a lot of people who are reviewing it and give it high ratings are fans of Tim Burton. And one of the things that kind of bothers me in the reviews is when someone says it's so hilarious. When I read these short stories, they don't feel hilarious to me. They feel kind of really sad and depressing. So I really regret impulse buying this book here. And to be quite honest, I should have returned it the day I bought it for a refund, because after I read the book in 5 minutes, I immediately regretted spending $20 on this book. Forward. So after buying this book, I kind of took it as a lesson learned that going forward, especially when I'm spending upwards of $20, I kind of will read the reviews and kind of flip through the book to make sure that I'm getting the bang for my buck. Because $20 could have gone a long way. If I would have went to a used bookstore, I could have got a stack of books, but instead I got a book that only lasted 5 minutes. So after I got done complaining about a book that I spent $20 on, I'm now going to move on to a book that is the most expensive book that I have ever purchased, which was $40. And I bought this at a Comic-Con, and I'm a true believer in like supporting artists. And that book is this one here. It's an art collection, and this is by who it's by, and I'm not going to pronounce it because I would absolutely butcher it. But I spent $40 on this book, and to this day, I think it's $40 well spent. The artwork is unbelievably amazing, and it's the style of art that I really love. And each page is so beautiful and beautifully colored. Like, it doesn't feel lazy at all. Like, sometimes when I buy books, after I'm done reading the book, I might come away with thinking like, wow, the person who created that book kind of got lazy here and there. But this book here, just looking at each of the pages of artwork, you know that each piece took hours to draw and it took hours to color. So one of the things I love to do is flip through the pages, and each page is so detailed and beautifully colored and beautifully done that when I stare at the pages, it stimulates my imagination. So as a writer, I see the page, but I'm creating like a story behind it. And that's what I really like, that not only is it something visually that I enjoy looking at, but it also stimulates my imagination to create stories. It makes me want to write. It makes me want to create fantasy stories. And here's another one here. It's beautiful. So if I were to see this artist again at a Comic-Con or somewhere else, if he had another book of art collection that he was selling, I absolutely would purchase it without hesitation, because I am so satisfied with what I did purchase at Comic-Con. This book cost me $40, but it was $40 well spent, and I would absolutely do it again. Back. But we're on to my last set of books. Now, I was very hesitant in wanting to share this with everyone here today. Now, I think it's because we all have that thing we're into that we don't really tell people, because if people found out, they'd think we're kind of crazy. And an example of that, I knew a person who was into splatterpunk. If you don't know what splatterpunk is like really violent and horrific fiction. And when they told me that they were into this, they kind of whispered it to me as if it was like a taboo topic. And I think we all have that thing that we're into that's kind of out of the norm, or that if someone found out, they would kind of look at you sideways. So with these next set of books, I was hesitant to share it, but in the end I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do it. If people think I'm crazy, then oh well. I'm older now, I'm used to being in a party of one. It doesn't really bother me as much as it used to. And that is these books here, which have to do with aliens. I love reading about aliens. As far back as I can remember, I've always been interested in like aliens, alien everything. And back when I was little, that was before internet and before TV shows like Ancient Aliens. We did not have anything like that back when I was little. But one show we did have was a show that some of you might remember, and it is called Unsolved Mysteries. And that is a show that would cover like a mixture of different unsolved mysteries, whether it be like an unsolved murder case or an unsolved missing persons case. But every time that show would come on, in the beginning they would do like a summary of different types of topics that they would cover that night. And if I would see that there was like a story about like aliens or like crop circles, I would always stay up to watch it. And I do remember that on Unsolved Mysteries they covered crop circles and also the Roswell crash and many other ones. And the ones I have to share with you today that I happen to have, these are really old by the way, is like this one here, Messages. This is by Stan Romanek, and this is the world's most documented extraterrestrial contact stories. One of my favorite covers. And I have this one, The Keepers by Jim Sparks. Now this guy has a lot of controversy. A lot of people think that he's just making stuff up, which very well may be true, but I decided to read it anyways. We have this one here, A Day with an Extraterrestrial by Lou Bolden. And this book here, The Lost Book of Enki by Zechariah Stitchin. And many, many more. Ever since I was a little girl, I've always been interested in this topic and continue to this day. And I don't care if people think I'm crazy. We're all into different things, and I just so happen to be into aliens. So that's all I have for today. Thank you all for watching. I hope that some of this was interesting. Please leave me a comment down below if you have something that you want to share. And other than that, I will see you later. We just completed week 2 of the Hot and Sticky Summer Writing Challenge, and I am considering every Monday the start of a new week. Going into the challenge, I knew that there